Hey guys, so today I wanted to run through the two different types of DM setting, right? Specifically DM setting. There's two, I can't really because I'm show with my fingers because I'm holding the mic, but yeah, it's another Google Doc video talking about inbound and outbound setting and the differences between inbound and outbound setting and kind of how you actually do inbound setting versus how you do outbound setting. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, you're going to see in the video shortly. And yeah, if you're brand new to appointment setting, this will explain the exact differences that there exist between the two different types of appointment setting. Hey, so in this lesson, I wanted to cover the differences between the different types of appointment setting. There's inbound appointment setting and there's outbound appointment setting. Just before I go over this doc, when I refer to your business throughout this doc, I mean the business you're working for or the business you are employed for. So the two types of setting. Appointment setting isn't black and white, and there are different types of appointment setting. You could become an inbound appointment setter or an outbound appointment setter. And to remind you of the definitions, these are also in the vocab board. Um, Outbound setting, with outbound appointment setting, you're basically the one sending out all of the messages to cold leads. You're contacting potential customers who don't really know the business, who aren't familiar with the business. Now, with inbound setting, you're contacting customers and leads who are warm or hot leads who have some familiarity with the business. Maybe they commented on a post. Maybe they liked the post. Maybe they reacted to a story poll if it's on Instagram. So basically, an inbound lead, or it could also be an inbound lead, could also be someone who just DMs the company. But an inbound lead is a lead that basically went out of their way to engage with something your business, right? Again, when I refer to your business, remember I'm referring to the company you're working for, with something that your business put out there. So that counts as an inbound lead. And then again, outbound lead, someone who has absolutely no clue who you are, never really engaged with you, and you're like the first point of reference they have in terms of like who the business you're working for is. Okay, so the one that you become depends on what position or uh, basically on what position you get or kind of which business you work for and what the business requirements are, because there's businesses who have all of their lead gen based on inbound lead flow, like businesses that run ads, businesses that run shout outs, businesses that bring in attention, that buy media, all of the attention flows to them, and they don't need to do any outbound. And then there's also businesses that rely on outbound lead flow, where appointment setters like you or VAs or an automated system or software will be sending out outbound messages, and then you will be the one handling the replies, and you will be responsible for converting people who replied to those outbound openers and those outbound messages onto meetings. But yeah, usually everyone starts as an outbound appointment setter, or you will do a hybrid mix between inbound and outbound setting when you start or when you become an appointment setter. If you wonder why you start as an outbound setter, because maybe at this point you understand that inbound setting looks, maybe it's like it looks a little bit easier. The reason you start with outbound setting is because you will need to prove yourself as someone who's actually able to convert leads, because these businesses don't want to burn through all of their inbound leads. For example, if a business posts an Instagram post with a call to action, if you want to get this free resource, comment the word skill or comment the word resource. And there's 100 comments. If you don't know how to actually communicate with those people, if you don't know how to convert those people onto a call, you're just gonna burn through all of those 100 people, and then there's not gonna be an ROI for the business for kind of placing you onto those leads and letting you do the inbound setting for those leads. So that's why for a lot of these positions you have to have a proven track record as an outbound setter, or at least be like have a track record where you did both inbound and outbound setting, because if you can convert someone who's an outbound lead or like a cold lead, then converting a warm lead and a hot lead is a lot easier. And then again, warm and hot leads come from inbound setting. That's something we're actually going to get into in a few minutes down in this doc. So to cover again the difference between inbound versus outbound, to cover it in kind of the flow of this whole sales process, With inbound setting, your job is right here. So the sales process goes traffic source. So the source of traffic of those leads, right? It could be an ad, it could be a shout out, it could be just an audience. So maybe the business, your business, gets all of the traffic from short form content or from YouTube content or from from TikTok, even from TikTok to maybe like a community, like a Discord community. So basically, like they have a lead generation method that brings in the traffic without them having to like manually bring it in. Then from that traffic source, the actual audience, the attention, there's going to be people who will engage with the content. So they will like the content, they will comment, or they will react to a CTA. So again, it's kind of like if you ever saw those two-step posts where like a course creator or a coach will say, we'll talk about a specific resource, about a specific way of achieving things, and then they're going to say, if you want this resource on how to do XYZ in 14 days, comment the word resource. And that's gonna like put a whole like a big thread of comments below that post, and that will create engagement. Another way for inbound setting, as I mentioned, is people actually DMing the account. That's also, all of these are considered inbound leads because they're coming to the business, to your business. So there could be also people who just DM your business, right? Your business's like main account, and then that will also lead to one um, process in the whole sales process, which is the conversation in the DMs, which you are actually responsible for. After the conversation, you issue the CTA or the call to action. The lead books a sales calls. The sales call is taken. From there, the lead is put into a 3-month coaching program, and then the client's life is transformed, and the coach gets a testimonial. This is basically how coaching programs work. This is how all coaches kind of work, how they function. Now, with outbound setting, your job is here, and as you see with outbound setting, the only difference is that these two things here, traffic source and then engagement, is taken away because you're the one creating engagement. You're the one reaching out to the lead. You're the one generating that attention. There's no attention before you actually go out there and generate attention. So it all the sales process with outbound setting starts with the conversation in the DMs instead of starting at some traffic source. But then the process is the same because you have a conversation, get them on a call, get them the closer or someone who's responsible for converting them into the actual coaching program gets them into the coaching program, and then the service is delivered for that client by your business, and the client's life is transformed, and the coach gets a testimonial. Time wise, also big difference with inbound. 50% of the time will be messaging inbound leads on your business's profile. And again, with inbound, like you're not going to be, with outbound, a lot of times you're going to be using your own accounts for outreach, or like multiple accounts for outreach. With inbound setting, you're going to be using the main account of your business because that's like where all of the attention is driven. So if you're working for like a fitness coach, if you were doing outbound messaging for a fitness coach, outbound setting for a fitness coach, you would be using multiple accounts to send maybe 100 messages. That's usually the standard, 100 outbound messages per day, reaching out to cold leads who might be interested in fitness. Now, if you were an inbound setter, you would be like logged into that fitness coach's account, and you would be taking care of all of the inbound leads. So again, the people who comment, like, DM that fitness coach's account, you would be working actively on their account, on the main account. So yeah, 50% of the time is spent messaging inbound leads. 50% of the time is spent handling conversations when you're working in inbound position. With outbound, things are a bit different time-wise. So 25% of the time is spent sourcing. 40% of the time is spent sending outbound messages to prospects. And then 35% of the time is handling the actual conversations. And the main difference here is the fact that you're going to be spending some time sourcing. Why? Because you need to only message qualified leads. We're actually going to cover sourcing in another resource, in a more specific resource. But with lead, like you have to actually generate that attention, as I mentioned. So you have to generate the perfect leads because the leads aren't coming to you. So you're going to be sourcing qualified leads, leads that fit the profile before you can actually send them the outbound message to spark a conversation. And then 35% of the time, you will be actually handling conversations. And with both of these splits, these can be broken into days between 6 to 8 hours. So for example, if you're doing 6-hour days as an appointment setter, 3 hours will be uh, basically messaging inbound leads on your business profile, and then 3 hours would be handling conversations. Or if you break it into an 8-hour day, that would be 4 hours or 4 hours. So the key difference between these two flows is that during the first inbound setting, right? During the first of these flows, the interaction starts before you. So the lead or the prospect has some context about the business you're appointment setting for. It's either a warm or hot lead. There's already some sort of relationship between them and the business you're setting for. During the second or outbound setting right here, you're the first touch point the lead has with the business you're setting for. And because of this, you're responsible for establishing the entire relationship from scratch when doing outbound setting. Because if they see content, if they're an inbound lead, they might have watched, 5 hours, maybe they watched an hour of content, maybe they watched 5 hours of content, maybe they watched 10 hours of content from your business. So they already have context and they have some sort of relationship in their mind. Because, for example, like you'll be watching YouTubers, and it's almost like you know those YouTubers, right? Even though they have no idea who you are, it's kind of like you know who that person is. So that's the same thing with these leads. They kind of know who the business is already before even starting the interaction, which is completely different with outbound setting because you're the first interaction they have. Based off the amount of context and the relationship the lead has between them and the business, they can be ranked as hot, warm, or cold leads. With inbound, you will receive hot and warm leads. With outbound, you will receive cold leads. Sometimes the exception could be warm leads if you're doing outreach to people who are engaged with the business content. This is also with it depends on the amount of outbound, but for this example specifically, this exception, this would be, for example, if your business does an Instagram. So again, let's make the example of a fitness coach. You're working for a fitness coach, and the fitness coach wants to do Instagram shout outs, right? And he posts a reel or a video onto a fitness page that has 2 million followers. And this coach, your basically employer, this fitness coach, maybe he has 20, 30K followers, but then he posts this video on a page, he pays for a shout out with 2 million followers. Then under that like caption for the post on the 2 million follower page, it's gonna say that call to action: comment skill if you want to, or comment fitness if you want to lose 10 kilos by the end of next month, right? And then there's going to be a ton of people commenting because the audience is so big. So that's still considered outbound because you're not messaging people who are coming to the fitness coach's profile. You're messaging people who are coming and commenting under the page's profile that your fitness coach or your employer or just your business posted a shout out on. So that could be the only exception for like warm leads coming through outbound. But basically with outbound, 90% of the time is going to be cold leads, if not more of the time. But yeah, it's basically all cold leads. Now to explain hot leads versus warm leads versus cold leads and kind of illustrate it. So zone 4 here is zone 4 and 3 would be cold leads. Zone 2 would be warm leads, and zone 1 would be hot leads. And then to actually explain what this is, you have to cross a prospect from zone to zone until you get them to the conversion hole. So right here, this is the conversion hole. This is basically where the prospect cashes in, or in our case, gets on the sales call with the sales rep from the company. So you have to bring them, if they're in zone 4, they know the least about your business. It's kind of like someone who's completely unaware, who's oblivious to who you are. They don't know who you are. They don't know your business. They don't know anything about you, right? Then you hold their hand through these zones until you convert them and establish enough trust, shift their perspective on life, shift their perspective on the world, in the context of solving the specific issue that your business helps with. And you do that by going from zone to zone, and basically you go from zone to zone, converting them, right, and building that relationship until you get to the conversion hole. So yeah, the closer the lead is to the conversion hole, the closer the lead in that zone or to buying from you or your business that you are working for. So hot leads, we're going to start with the leads that are in zone 1. So hot leads can be classified as hot because they basically raise their hand and ask to work with the business you're working for. So they basically like want to work with you already. It's not just leads who saw your content, maybe saw a few posts from you. These are leads that already trust you enough, and they're basically raising their hand for a call. And this means they're hot leads, and they will basically come directly to your main business's account. And again, they're basically like ready to buy. This means that when conversing with hot leads, you will most likely be using the account of your business, because again, the only time you'll really get like cold, you're not really going to get cold leads with the main account of your business, because with the main account of your business, it could be, let's say again, fitness coach. Let's say you're working for a fitness coach. Their main account is going to have 30, 40,000, 50,000 followers, and they're getting all of these inbounds. So they get a lot of warm leads, and then they get a lot of hot leads. So you'll be working on their account to actually converse with these hot leads. These are basically completely aware of the problem. They're aware that they have a challenge or a specific problem they need to solve. And they're also aware, or at least they believe, they have the perspective that your business is the perfect business to solve that problem. They don't need any convincing. They already know that they need to come to you, like the business you're working for, to solve that specific problem. This makes it easy for you to book them onto a call. You just have to qualify them before booking them to make sure they're a fit to work with your business, whether it's finance-wise, time-wise, etc. And we will go deeper on qualifications, but qualifications could be, for example, if you're on an offer, again, like you're not closing any deals, but as an appointment setter, you're setting people up on calls where they're going to be closed onto a deal. And the deals, they range in different price points. So a deal could be 2,000, the deal could be 5,000, the deal could be 10,000. So for example, as an appointment setter, what you might be tasked with is to qualify these leads to make sure that everyone you book on a call at least has a stable revenue of 2 to 5,000 per month right now, so that they can actually afford the program, or they have $2,000 to $5,000 saved up that they can invest and afford the program. And this could be a finance qualification that you would do through conversations, because if you don't qualify this and you get on people onto the calls who let's say have $500 saved up, the call is not going to be qualified. You're not going to get commission for it, but also the closer will get on that call, or the sales rep that's representing that business, who actually is responsible for the sales calls, will get on that call, and then they're going to waste their time, because the lead has absolutely no way to actually get into the program. So and these qualifications could be really different. Another common qualification, for example, in the make money online space, will be, is a lead already in some other course or program? So for example, if you're working for an Amazon FBA coach that coaches people how to start an Amazon FBA business, it wouldn't make sense for the coach or the coach's sales rep to hop on calls with leads who already invested like $3,000-$5,000 into another Amazon FBA coach's program, because most likely they're gonna be like, I'm already in a program, they're helping me enough, and I don't think this is really needed for me because I'm already getting enough help from that other program. Another one could be spouse, right? Something you would ask leads before booking them on a call would be, are you the sole decision maker in your family? You wouldn't ask it directly like that, because that's how you get ghosted. And again, we're going to go over the exact messaging, but you would find out if they have a spouse, if they're the dominant decision maker in their family, or at least if they're able to make a solo decision. Because a lot of leads, for example, they'll hop onto a call. Let's say this basically happens in every niche, but let's say a yoga coach. A woman is trying to get help from a yoga coach with yoga, right? And the yoga coach's program is $3,000. Now maybe the woman has a husband and they have a family budget. And then when she hops on the call with the yoga coach says, my budget is $3,000. The woman says the objection that I actually have a spouse and I need to talk this over with him before I can invest in your program. So the way this is prevented, like this objection could be prevented, is when you have conversations with people and you would ask someone if they have a spouse. And then you would literally get them to book the call and make sure they actually bring in their spouse onto the call so that they can make a decision, right? So there's no objections, because usually when people make objections on a sales call, this doesn't apply to the actual appointment setting, but it's important to know. When people will make an objection on a sales call, like when the sales rep or the closer is trying to close them, they'll make objections, and if they're basically like let off that call without paying, without buying into the program, 90% of the time they're never going to get back on another call because they're going to get time to think about it. And the thing is, like, these people, they don't have like a lot of information, right? So to break this down really simply, when you're trying to work with a fitness coach, and you're trying to like implement a specific technique for weight loss, the only source of information, like, and let's say you're trying to work with that fitness coach and you've tried multiple diets, you've tried multiple things, and this coach seems like the only solution for you. So you get on a call with that fitness coach, they tell you that their program is 5K, and you say, I need to think about it. The problem with that is when you go think, like, you can't really think about much because that fitness coach is your only source of information for that specific technique to losing weight. So then what happens is people go off and think about it, or they go off and consult their spouse, and then they start having limiting beliefs. They're going to be in their heads and they're going to be saying, maybe this is not for me because I won't be able to do it. Maybe this is not for me because I don't have enough time. They're going to start having these limiting beliefs that needs to be prevented. So that's why a lot of qualifications could happen through chat. Again, I'm getting a bit off topic here, and this is going to be covered in a separate lesson, basically. But a lot of these conversations have to act as qualifiers before the call, so that on the call, people don't give out these objections. And then the benefit for you is that if you book qualified meetings like this, these meetings will be closed, and of course, you're going to get paid commissions. So the more qualified calls you can book, the more you're going to get paid as a result. Now, so let's move on to warm leads. So warm leads, if you're doing an inbound appointment setting offer, warm leads will make up 50 to 60% of the entire lead flow, if not more, because hot leads, it really takes a lot of content for someone to consume before they can become a hot lead. Because a hot lead, they literally have to raise their hand, and they're basically in their head, they have to be like, okay, I'm gonna give it, like, I know this person is gonna charge me something high ticket, because people are aware of sales processes now. They know that nothing's free, or at least in the business space, in the coaching space, right? So they have to willingly come and say and raise their hand and say, okay, I'm fine with paying this person, multiple 4 figures for a solution or multiple 5 figures for a solution. Now, warm leads are just curious. So warm leads, they are in zone 2, meaning they are problem aware, but they're not aware, or they don't have a perspective. They don't believe that your solution is the only solution or the perfect solution. So they're problem aware. They're aware that they have a challenge they need to overcome, but they're aware of multiple solutions. So for example, the first thing that comes to my mind is someone who's trying to start making money online. They're going to be warm leads on multiple make money online offers. So for example, they're going to DM, they're going to engage with the content of a crypto coach. They're going to engage with the content of a dropshipper. They're going to invest their time and engage with multiple of these like spaces, with people in multiple different niches, because they're just trying to make money online. So they know the problem, like their problem is that they're broke. Maybe they're broke, they don't have enough money, they need to start making money online. But they don't have a specific solution in mind. They don't know that, okay, I'm going to go to this specific I'm going to go to John, the specific crypto trading coach, to make my 10K per month. No, in their heads, they're still kind of like, should I start dropshipping? Should I go to this coach? Should I go to this coach? Maybe they're already niched down into one specific make money online route, like let's say again dropshipping, but they're still considering, should I work with John? Should I work with Kate? Who should I actually work with? So they're not like zoned in on your solution, and they don't have like bias towards your solution. They're just kind of like dabbling around and poking around to find what is the best solution for them. These are basically leads that are just curious, and a lot of these leads won't go out of their way to actually send you a DM. Some of them will. There are warm leads that will just send you a DM, and they're kind of going to be just interested in like kind of the like, is this even like worth it for them? Should they even be talking to you? Right? They're not like trying to actively work with you, as I said. But most warm leads will be found in comments. They're going to be found on two-step stories, call to action posts. They're going to be found on two-step posts. They're going to be found in advertising opt-ins. They're going to be found in shout-outs, Instagram shout-outs. They can be found in short form content that has a call to action. They're basically people who are going to engage, but they're going to take the minimal amount of effort to actually engage with your business because, again, they're still exploring, they're kind of curious, and they're not 100% set on taking your solution up to solve their problem. Warm lead sales processes, they will start once the lead is actually familiarized. They start basically right here. Let me scroll up. They start right here, traffic, then engagement. So they have some context on the solution, they have some context on your business, but they are not just sold on it. They just have some extent of knowledge, but not enough to actually buy into it like a hot lead. So appointment setting gurus, appointment setting coaches, a lot of them will use two-step posts, and this is because they run shout outs, kind of like I mentioned. So for example, so if you'd like the in-demand scale of remote setting to be a huge game changer for you as well, comment skill below and I'll reach out and explain how it works, right? So now he's getting a bunch of inbound comments on his post of people commenting skill. Two-step post results in people commenting the CTA, the call to action, right? The call to action is to comment skill, and they're commenting skill. But basically, it's an inbound DM warm lead asking for a resource. So he would be a hot lead. This is, again, the distinction. He would be a hot lead if he messaged asking for the price of the program or messaged asking to book a call without any previous rapport. But because he's just asking for kind of like a touch point before going anywhere, he is just a warm lead. He's asking for an appointment setting doc, basically giving people away a resource if they DM'd them, right? If you DM the business, you get a free resource away. And that's how this person turned into an inbound lead. So inbound DM warm leads are easier to convert than inbound comments or likes because the lead comes to you for something and puts their time and energy to message you. Time and energy really is important here in the sales process because the more time and effort someone puts into something, the more sold they are into doing it. Because everyone does something because they know they can get some sort of value from it. At least, in the sales context. For example, people here, they're taking a few seconds to comment skill. It is a few seconds, but they're investing a few seconds of their time because they know in the return for commenting skill, they're going to get a resource or they're going to get some type of value that can boost their life forward. Now here, Tice is messaging the business because he knows he's going to get some value, but what is important is the fact that he's taking a lot of more time to actually go up, open the DMs, send a DM, and then actually keep checking back the DM to find if the resource is sent to him. So he's putting a lot more of a time commitment into it. It might not seem like a lot, but it is a lot because he's taking that step forward and he's the first point of interaction. We're not the ones DMing him saying, you commented skill. Would you still like the resource? He's the one DMing us. He's coming directly to us. Inbound warm leads, the comment or engagement with constant dynamic is different because you are the one messaging them with the exception of them basically replying to your message. The reply rate for inbound leads from likes and comments will be similar to the reply rate you receive from outbound to cold leads because you're basically messaging people who commented. A lot of these people will still kind of forget that they commented or they will not really remember the fact that they liked your specific post because when we scroll Instagram, we do it pretty mindlessly. So yeah, the reply rate on inbound leads that come from comments and likes will be similar to that of cold leads. It's going to be between 7 and 30%. And this also depends, basically that long range depends on the market sophistication. So how aware is the market of the sales process? If you're messaging someone and they're getting messaged 5 times a day with people who try to sell them, they're going to have their guard up and your reply rate will be lower with those specific leads because of the market. So with warm likes and comment leads, depending on how loyal they are of an audience, the reply rate could be up to 5 to 10% higher than it is with cold leads. This also really depends, if an influencer or a coach has an audience that really loves them, that really engages with their content, that really finds value in their content, there's going to be a lot more of those people actually commenting and engaging. And then actually when they comment, they'll be like, okay, I commented on this guy's profile. I really like him because he's putting out a lot of value. So I'm going to actively wait for the DM from him with what he offered in that two-step call to action post. The best way to measure loyalty of your business audience is by checking how many of the followers actively view the story. How many of your followers actually take their time out of their day to go through your stories every single day. That really that really shows the loyalty of your audience. So if you have 100K followers and you get 10K views on your stories, you have a very engaged audience who is ready to buy from you. Now, to get to cold leads are in zones 3 and 4 of the conversion process. So zone 3 is they could be following your business, but they're not actively engaged in the content and events. So basically, they're following the business, but they don't really care. They don't watch the stories. They don't like the posts. They don't comment. The only thing with zone 3 that separates it from zone 4 is the fact that to follow someone, you still may be engaged with their content previously. You liked something to actually give them a follow. So they have at least some awareness of the business, but they're not really aware. So you still have to kind of nurture them through the process and convert them zone to zone. Zone 4, they have no clue who you are or who your business is. So they have absolutely no idea about you. You actually have to build a lot of trust with them and rapport to build up their idea of you and the fact that you can actually help them. To cold leads, you are no one and you have to form a connection with them from scratch. It's the easiest to lose cold leads because they have minimal points of references as to who you are and don't see any credibility in you because you're kind of a stranger, right? You're just a stranger coming out of the blue and just DMing them. The entire sales process from the time you engage them in a conversation to the time you book them on a call will take the longest amount of time when you're doing outbound to cold leads because these people don't know you. So before you can actually get them onto a call and propose a call without getting ghosted and actually getting them to book a call, you have to build up a lot of trust so they actually trust in you and they actually know that you have enough value for them to actually get on that call. And this is all done through smaller touch points and smaller call to actions like watch this podcast where XYZ name from our company covers how to overcome XYZ challenge they're facing. So, let's say that you are doing outbound setting to cold prospects for a fitness coach, and then you find out that the lead you're messaging has a problem with deadlifts. They don't know how to do deadlifts in the gym because they hurt their back. So you're gonna say, right, whatever resource you have from the company, watch this podcast where name from our company covers how to get better at deadlifts. And then you will say this before you call them to action on to booking a call because you build up trust. You basically turn them from being a cold lead to a warm lead to then becoming a hot lead because they're cold, they don't even know who you are. Then they're warm because they're like, okay, this guy or this girl actually has some value. They know what they're talking about. And then they see enough value from you and they see the fact that you can really resonate with them and they see that you understand like their pain points and you're actually trying to help them solve their pain points to where they become a hot lead because like they see and understand that you can really help them, that you really want to help them and they actually want to be helped and you're the best person at that time. So they become a hot lead who actually want to buy in, and that's when you book them onto a sales call. So converting prospect zone to zone, no matter if you get cold leads from outbound or hot/warm leads from inbound, you will need to convert the prospect from zone to zone closer to the conversion hole. This is exactly why it takes longer to convert a cold lead because you start in zone 4 out here, while a hot lead is about to convert onto a call and they start in zone 1 right here, literally right before getting onto a sales call. Prospects get converted from zone to zone with touch points. For example, zone 4 to zone 3 can be a long form content resource like a podcast or a process video, and you figure out that pain point through the conversation. So like, what are they struggling with? The resource turns the prospect into a warm lead because from having no idea who you are or what your intentions are, the prospect consumes the content of your business and becomes familiar with it, but more importantly, starts trusting you and starts seeing credibility in you because of the resources, and the resources build up that credibility and value. Then you can keep converting from zone to zone with the value until you're able to convert onto a call, aka the square with the money or the conversion hole.
So guys, now that you know the exact differences between inbound and outbound setting, you can start building up your appointment setting career. If you watch this video, you're most likely just starting out appointment setting, but now you know the different types of appointment setting and actually how you do the different types of appointment setting. If you want to learn a little bit more about appointment setting and how you actually start it, check out the free videos on my channel and the free trainings. There's literally videos that are 1 hour, 2 hours long, just covering about how you're going to have sales conversations, how you're actually going to book meetings, everything you need to know to actually start and launch off a successful career in appointment setting. So thank you guys for watching. If you found any value in this video, comments exactly what you found valuable about this video, or comments any questions that you have, and like the video, share. Hopefully it's going to get the algorithm going. I appreciate your time and have a great day.